I've done a 180-degree shift. My countenance has changed. He immediately calls my wife, Alice, who's over at the hotel, trying to manage me, John Jr., her mother-in-law, herself. And she's just found out that morning that the job she was working back in Arkansas, as we had been separated because of a geographical, where I was stationed in Germany, her job just called her and said, because you haven't come in over the course of the last 4 days, you are no longer employed with us. She comes running over. And it takes them 45 minutes to get me out of the bed, into a wheelchair. Doctor's order wheeled out to an inaccessible playground where I'm parked, in front of some swings where my wife and my son are playing on the swing set. And because of the gravel that I couldn't push over there to them, I was stuck in that spot. And I realized I couldn't push myself out of that chair to go play with my son. And I lost it. Started crying uncontrollably. Because it was the first time I felt devalued, dejected, disabled. And as Alice saw me struggle with my tears and just heaving sobs, she comes running over and says, "What is going on? What is wrong, John? What's happening?" And I began to articulate to her all of my fears I had in my head. And then she said the words that stopped my downward spiral. "You know what, John? We're going to get through this together. It's just our new normal. It's just our new normal." And when she spoke those words to me, she baselined my entire existence, like she undergirded my countenance, my mindset at that moment. And as I thought about those words, John Jr., he jumps off the swing set, hits the ground, starts pointing back and running over to us. "Hey, Dad, you see my big jump? You see my big jump, Dad?" And that 5.5-year-old splits Alice and myself. And I realized in that moment he has just validated me as his father. He's created his new normal. And I realized that's exactly what I had to do, was to create my new normal. So in the space between her question and my response, I found my answer. I did not overcome the adversity. So I looked back at her and I said, "You know, I don't think I've overcome what you think I've overcome. Because had I overcome the amputation of my left leg, I would have my leg back. So, I don't." Let's pause the story right there before we go any further. And I'm going to ask you the question. What do you think it was that I overcame? What do you think?